All right, so your streamline is, very good. Your extension, as far as the reach goes, looks good. Your right hand is doing a bit of a kind of wobble in and out where it extends and then kind of swoops back in a little bit. It's not a huge deal. And then the left also is extending right in front of the shoulder, which is fine. So I mean, for the most part, your extension and your head position is good. You're obviously not lifted up to breathe or anything like that. Hips and legs are high in the water. You got a good relaxed kick. So yeah, all the streamline functions of the stroke are in good shape. I think most of the corrections that you're going to be able to do are going to come from the underwater catch portion. We'll see it better on the underwater section, but it looked to me like you're doing mostly a straight arm style of pulling, so you're not quite catching the water as much. Your hips and legs are staying in the same line as your upper body as you swim along. That's good. And here you just see, where your hands extend. So you're not crossing over. Your right is entering, maybe a little closer to your head than you need to. All right, so this is the underwater portion before any feedback, and what we noticed was that you're pulling with mostly a straight arm on both sides. I think left hand sometimes tilts or pivots like outward, facing the side wall a little more than it should, and especially as you start to do more and more internal shoulder rotation, you want to be aware of what those hands are doing. As much as possible, you want them to stay perpendicular to the back wall, right? So you're pushing yourself forward through the water against that wall or away from that wall. Head position is good. It was a little low sometimes. Body position is good. The kick looks relaxed. We discussed briefly, working on the kick standalone just to have a strong kick. It does not that you would use it in an Ironman, but whatever kick you have, you want it to be functional and propulsive. Yeah, but the main thing we really saw was that we want the straight arm style of pulling to move towards the high elbow or early vertical forearm style of pulling. It's a good reach forward, good rotation. And the stroke path, which you'll see when you swim towards the camera, you're mostly pulling directly back in a column centered on the corresponding shoulder, which is correct. Yeah, it's that left hand that really turns outward some. So, just something to be aware of. All right, and here, you see the streamline, the stroke path. Just a little on that left is what you want to be careful with. So doing some one-arm drill. So what we saw in the video was that, streamline and everything is in good shape. It's more that you're not getting the catch. So you're swimming with mostly a straight arm style. And, one thing to really think about is to emphasize the internal shoulder rotation. So you extend and then roll the shoulder or shrug the shoulder. This looks better than the start. And when you're doing the one arm drill, it's okay to think, 1, 2, 3. 1, extend, 2, shrug, 3, scoop or catch the water. Much better. Yeah, and so totally fine to think about it, and especially on one arm drill. When you're drilling, you're just, improving your technique. Another thing you can think about with both the drill and the technique itself is it's okay to drive the hand down, so you don't have to stay shallow in the water with the stroke. That was good. So I can see sometimes here, and this happens a lot, your elbow is leading the stroke back. That was good. That one's pretty good. This is one arm drill, so we talked a good bit about internally shrugging or rolling the shoulder, and that helps get your hand and forearm into that up and down position, the vertical position. Something I mentioned is it's okay to drive that hand down, like towards the bottom, so the elbow doesn't have to stay high to the surface of the water. You just want the elbow higher than the hand and forearm as early as possible in the stroke. So one arm drill is something I would work a lot on. When you do it, you want to think like step 1, extend fully forward. Step 2, that's the shrug and roll. And step 3, the pull. So you were kind of going right to step 2, where your arm is coming into the water here at an angle already. So go ahead and extend fully forward and then roll the shoulder. It's something that gets easier the more you practice it. Yeah, and the other drill that I think is helpful is that fist drill, the progression of just fists, then fists with tennis balls, and then fists with paddle. So this is dog paddle. This is a really good strength and technique drill. So you're doing pretty good. You want the recovery to be underwater, right? Like a breaststroke recovery. And it really isolates the pull, that front pull section, which is arguably the strongest section of swimming. I don't think arguably, I think it is. And so this one gets easier with time as well. The more you actually train the drill, uh, the better you'll get at it. Sorry about that screen blinking out there. Yeah, so keep working the form drills. Every practice, you should be doing 300 or 400 yards of really just focused drill technique work. And then as you're doing your main sets, continue to think about that technique. You can spot check by looking up to see what your hand's doing. Does your arm have the sort of high elbow curve that we talked about? Um, and all those things. And hopefully your speed will, come back up and improve.